Hi, everyone. We are joined this morning with by Sophia Barksdale, and she's going to talk to us about turning her challenges into opportunities. Sophia, go ahead.
Thank you, Lisa. What an honor to be here today to share my journey, to share my story. Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Sophia Barksdale. I am a life coach, speaker, facilitator, and author. But most importantly, I am a woman who have walked through seasons of uncertainty, fear, and self-doubt and came out stronger on the other side. Today, I wanted to share how I learned to turn challenges into opportunities and how you can do the same. So, ladies, let's be honest. Life has a way of testing us, doesn't it? We all have moments when we look in the mirror and we question ourselves, we question our worth, and we ask, am I enough? Or can I really do this? Those questions don't come from weakness. However, it comes from the weight of trying to show up, trying to hold it together, trying to meet expectations that sometimes feel impossible. For me, there was a season when I was wearing every hat imaginable. I was a mom, a wife, a professional, a student, a friend, trying to show up the best way possible. And somewhere in the middle of all of that, I was still trying to find myself. Can anyone relate to that? It was exhausting. I remember waking up some mornings already tired, not because of what was ahead of me, but what I was carrying on the inside. The pressure to perform, the fear of letting people down, the guilt of wondering if I was doing enough. My turning point came during one of those quiet moments when everything got still. I just want to interject your pause is powerful. I remember sitting alone and realizing I wasn't chase I was chasing perfection. I wasn't chasing peace. I was chasing people's approval instead of walking in alignment with who God had created me to be. The realization it humbled and freed me at the same time because I learned that peace doesn't come from me doing more. It comes from becoming more aware of who you already is. Once I let that truth sink in, I stopped striving to meet everyone else's expectations and started asking God, who did you create me to be? And little by little, I began to see my life shift, my weight lifted, my confidence return. And I learned something very powerful. When you change how you see yourself, everything else around you changes too. Because when you learn to see challenges differently, you unlock a whole new level of freedom and confidence. And that is what we're going to dive in today: how to move from overwhelm to empowerment, how to take the very challenges that once made you question your worth and turn them into stepping stones towards your purpose. After that realization, I understood that peace mattered more than perfection. You think that things got easier, right? Not exactly. See, awareness is a step towards change, but it's not the only step. Once I became aware that I was living out of alignment, I had to face some uncomfortable truths about myself. I realized that I was constantly overextending myself, saying yes to things I really wanted to say no to, showing up for others even when I was running on empty. And do you know what that created? Exhaustion, resentment, and this quiet whisper in my spirit that says, you're losing yourself trying to be everything to everyone else. I had to learn that being strong doesn't mean carrying it all. It means having the courage to put it down, having the courage to set it down. So let me be transparent for a moment. There was a time when I tied my worth to how much I could do for others. If I was busy, if I was producing, if I was helping, I felt valuable. But the problem with that mindset is that it keeps you in a cycle of proving instead of becoming. So I asked myself, what would happen if I stopped overcommitting? What would happen if I give myself the same grace that I give to others? What if I believe I was enough even when I wasn't doing more? That's where self awareness began to take root. Because awareness is like turning on the light. It doesn't change what's in the room, but it exposes what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to be rearranged, what needs to be removed. Think about your own life for a second. Where might you be extending yourself? Where are you saying yes to things that you should say no to? For me, that moment of reflection led to transformation because once I was able to see clearly, I was able to make intentional choices, choices that supported the woman that I was becoming, not the one that I was trying to outgrow. So I began to journal, set boundaries, and started reminding myself circumstances doesn't define me, God does. That became my anchor. Because when you know who you are, you stop letting temporary situations make you forget your permanent value. And maybe that's what someone needs to hear today. You are not what happened to you. You're not your failures. You're not your mistakes. You are becoming the woman you are meant to become. So when I'm talking about empowerment, I'm not speaking about having it all together or being perfect. I am talking about learning to love yourself through the process and showing up for yourself. That is where real growth begins. It begins in the messy, honest moments where you choose to keep showing up for yourself. So let's take the first step together to move from struggle to awareness. So once I became aware of myself, my habits, my patterns, my emotional triggers began to shift. It began to shift my perspective. Perspective is powerful because the way you see a thing determines how you manage it. I like to call this part the three mindset shifts that changed everything. These are the same shifts that helped me move from simply surviving to living with purpose. So let's walk through them together. So my mindset shift one, reframing from why me to what is this teaching me? So why me to what is this teaching me? There was a season in my life where it felt like everything was happening to me. I'll wake up drained, trying to figure out why certain relationships wasn't working, why doors weren't opening, and why I kept running into the same walls. But one day I heard God whisper to my heart, it's not happening to you, it is happening for you. That hit deep. When I stopped asking, why me? And start asking, what is this teaching me? Everything began to change. I started to see lessons in the struggle, growth in the discomfort. And instead of feeling like a victim, I began to feel like a student of life. So let's take a second. Think of one challenge that you faced recently and ask yourself, Instead of asking yourself why, ask yourself right now, why, what might this be teaching me? Or what has this taught me? Because every challenge carries a message, but you can only hear it when you quiet your frustrations long enough to listen. Mindset shift number 2. I have to control everything to I can trust the process. This one was hard for me because I am a natural planner. I need to see how my life is going to plan out. I need to know what's coming next. But life doesn't always give you the luxury of certainty, does it? Sometimes God will remove your sense of control, not to punish you, but to remind you that you were never in control in the first place. So I had to learn how to release that strong grip on how I thought things should go and trust that everything was working together for my good. And my friend, that was not easy, especially when you can't see the full picture. But that is what faith is, believing in things that you cannot see. So when you start trusting the process, you stop rushing your purpose. You stop comparing your timelines to everyone else, and you start finding peace, even in the pauses. So tell yourself this right now: I may not have control, but I do have confidence. I have confidence in God. I have confidence in growth, and I have confidence in grace. So, my shift number 3, from I'm not enough to I'm becoming enough for my next level. Now, this is where transformation truly begins. For a long time, I struggled with feelings of not feeling good enough, feelings of inadequacy. And I would question those things that God put inside of me, my gifts, my path, my voice. But I realized that the enemy of growth is comparison. So every time I compared my journey to someone else's, I was watering their garden versus mine. So I started reminding myself daily, I may not be where I want to be yet, but I'm becoming everything I am meant to be. I just want to remind you, you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You only need to be present and willing. So let me ask you, what would you change in your life if you believe that you are already equipped for what's ahead? My friend, you are enough. You are enough. Not because you're done everything right, but because God designed you with purpose before you even knew your name. Even and when you and when your perspective shifts, your path begins to align. So these 3 mindset shifts have shaped how I move through every season of my life. Because when you change your perspective, you change the peace, and when peace changes, everything around you follows. So when I started aligning my choices with my values, things began to make sense again. I stopped running from stillness. I stopped letting other people's opinions determine my pace. And I started asking myself, does this decision reflect who I am and where I am going? That simple question became my compass. So I began to set boundaries, and I learned to say no without guilt and without fear. And for the first time, I gave myself permission to grow. So now let's talk about what it really means to live empowered. Because empowerment is not just a mindset. It's a daily choice. Every morning you get to decide whether you'll let life happen or live life on purpose. Living empowered means simply showing up for yourself, even when life gets hard. It's choosing peace over pressure and progress over perfection. So, number one of my Empower Action Plan is your morning reset. How you start your day matters. Before you check your phone or scroll through the world noises, check your social media, take a moment to really center yourself and pray, meditate, affirm yourself, speak life over yourself, and remind yourself today, I choose purpose, I choose peace, and I choose to walk in alignment. When you start your day with intention, you move through your day with confidence. Number two, journaling. When challenges come, it's inevitable and they will come. Pause and ask yourself, what opportunities are hidden in this? That one question changes how you see everything. So, journaling helps you process, it helps you release, and it helps you grow. Even if it's a couple minutes a day, write down what you have learned, write down what things that you're grateful for, and write things about you becoming the person that you were meant to be. Because reflection, because resilience builds reflection. I want to say that again. Reflection builds resilience. Reflection builds resilience. And number three, we were not meant to do life alone, and community is so important. Empowerment isn't a solo journey. We grow stronger in community. So I encourage you to surround yourself with people who remind you of your strength, not your struggle. The right people won't compete with you. They will cover you. They will challenge you. They will uplift you. And it's okay to love people from a distance if it costs you your peace. I just want to encourage you that you are not behind. You are becoming. And every step you take towards growth, it counts. Every boundary you honor, every moment you choose peace, every time you pause instead of react, you're rewriting your story. Empowerment is in you. It's not something that you have to chase, it's just something that needs to be activated. So today, give yourself permission to grow, give yourself permission to heal, give yourself permission to lead and to thrive, because the best version of you is already on the way and she's walking empowered. Living empowered doesn't mean life gets easier. It means you get stronger, you get wiser, you become more confident in your ability to navigate whatever comes your way. Empowerment is not about avoiding challenges, it's about transforming how you face them. It's about learning to breathe through the storms instead of breaking under it. Remember that every challenge you face adds a new layer of resilience. Every setback carries a lesson that prepares you for the next level. You're, you have survived moments that once felt impossible. You have walked through seasons that stretch you to the core, and yet you are still here, and not by accident, but it is totally by assignment. And sometimes what feels like a detour is actually divine direction, a moment meant to strengthen your faith and stretch your capacity. So when life tests you again, and it will, remember this: you've already overcome so much. You're already proving your strength time and time again. And the same grace that carried you before, it will carry you again. Now I want you to take a deep breath and say this quietly to yourself. I am not what happened to me. I am who I choose to become. So let that sink in, because the power to rewrite your story has always been in your hand. You are the author of what comes next. And no matter what you've walked through, you still have chapters of strength. You still have chapters of hope and purpose waiting to be written. So walk in your truth, walk in your confidence, and walk in your grace, because empowerment doesn't start when everything is perfect. It starts the moment you decide that you are enough to begin with. And as we close today, I want you to remember one simple truth. You have the power to turn every challenge into an opportunity. The difference between being stuck and stepping forward is your mindset. What you bring about, what you think about, you bring about. What you think about, you bring about. So protect your thoughts, feed your faith, and be intentional about how you show up every single day. So I challenge you this week to take one intentional action that brings you closer to peace, purpose, and personal growth. Maybe it's setting a boundary, maybe it's journaling, maybe it's forgiving others and or forgiving yourself. Because the moment you decide to grow, everything around you will shift. Growth is not about perfection, it's about progress. And every small, consistent step you take is shaping the life you were created to live. So keep shining, keep growing, and most of all, keep thriving. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this space in this journey with you. Please stay connected. Here's my information provided. Stay connected for inspiration, resources, and empowerment tips. Once again, thank you for tuning in and hear my story.
Thank you, Sophia.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us today. It was lovely. We've got your power of perspective. Stop letting temporary situations make you forget permanent value. Um, Love this, sis. We are enough. Growth is about progress, not perfection. There was quite a few comments there while you were speaking. So that's fantastic. Thank you so much for being with us and for
You're
sharing your story. And hello, Andre. I see you.
Shout out to my husband.
Anyway, welcome, Andre. Thank you for joining us today. And Sophia, thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
your wisdom and your knowledge and your glow to She
Yeah.
Is Me. We really appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for this opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. We will let you know how to contact Sophia when her video is posted, and you can work with her. We're back. Okay. Don't know what happened there, but
Yeah, me neither.
everything kind of went black. I don't know, but that's what happens on a live broadcast. So,
Okay.
so we'll
I'm
be
so sorry.
back. We'll be back at the top of the hour with Crystal Casey. Sophia, thanks again.
You're welcome. Bye.